Daniel here for Tabletop for One. Please join me at the table as I teach and play through Forage. And I thank you for joining me for this tutorial solo playthrough of Forage. Now, Forage is the final installment of the Harvesting Trilogy designed by Mark Tuck and published by Sideroom Games. And it's coming to Kickstarter later in September. I don't have a link yet for it, but as soon as I'm provided with a link, I will add it to my video. As a disclaimer, I've been provided with this preview copy of the game, which I will be passing on to somebody else, and I've not been otherwise compensated for this video. And so in Forage, you're going to be placing cards on the table, overlapping the same areas with other areas to forage for blackberries, chestnuts, and mushrooms. And the goal of the game is to get the most points, but if you play with the recipe mode, you're going to be going for a win-loss scoring threshold, which I will be going for the recipe mode for this playthrough. And so to set up the game is fairly simple. You need all your dice and your token here. You got this mouse token here, the Edwood mouse. And then you need your cards. Now I've drawn 2 recipe cards here. These will be my recipes for the game. And so what these tell me on here are different scoring opportunities here. We have gather a blackberry on my first turn, which will give me 1 point. And then the lowest scoring food after subtracting any mice, but before any bonuses, scores double. You add these 2 numbers together, and that's going to be your goal. So I need a total of 44 points. And so that's going to be our challenge today. The rest of these cards here, you're going to shuffle up and then draw 9 cards, and that'll be your start of the game. Now, before I go into the gameplay, I'm going to explain all the rules here. And so in this game, what you're going to be doing is you're going to draw the first card of the game, and you'll place it out in front of you. Then you'll draw 2 cards, and you'll have these to choose from. So you're going to play a card, place any dice that you've earned, and then draw a new card, and you keep going until you run out of cards. And so when you play a card, you have to overlap a previously played card, at least one of the squares. But what you're hoping to do is overlap the same kind of squares so that it gives you bonuses. And so the way this works is when you place a card, if you have fruit or the nuts on them or the mushrooms, and you place it over the same kind of background. These are the bramble, this is the soil, and these are the leaves. So this fruit one here with the bramble, if I placed it over this one, it would award me with a die. And so I would be able to place this 1 green die in this spot. Now, since I'm placing leaves over soil, those don't match up, what happens there is I will have to then place out a mouse. And a mouse is worth -2 points at the end of the game. So you don't really want to place those out. And you can't place anything over that spot except with one exception. And that exception is you can place another card with the same kind of background over that spot. It would remove the mouse, but then it would place the Edwood mouse in its place. And the Edwood mouse is worth -5 points. But you get this die back to the dice pool, so that might be worth it. But in this case here, if this was the placement, which was not a good placement, some of these don't match up. So this mushroom here does not match up with this one. I would add another mouse in this case. But this mushroom here, the soil does match up with this one. See, this is a split tile here. It doesn't have any fruit or nuts on it, but it can be used for either bramble or soil. So in this case here, I can place this soil on top of it, and then I would gain a brown die since I have the mushroom on top here. Now, when you are placing on top of previously placed dice, if it's matching up, this soil here with this soil here, and the mushroom is on top here, then you'll take the die that's underneath and you'll increase it to the next level. So it goes from 1 to 3, 3 to 6, and 6 to 10, and then 10 to 15. And now in this case here, if I place this here, you'll see that the bramble matches with the blackberry here, and the chestnut matches there. So I will actually gain a couple extra dice here, and these will start out as 1. Now, one thing you have to be aware of is these split tiles that don't have a fruit or nut or mushroom on them. If I place this right now, it can count as a bramble since it has the partial green background. But when you place it on top of a die that's already placed, it doesn't increase in value. So it'll stay the same value and it can be placed in that spot. And with this mushroom here, I can place it here as well and gain another die. So that's how that works. Now, if I came by later on and for whatever reason decided to place this chestnut right here on top of this one, now the fallen leaves do match the background on that split space, but the die doesn't. So in this case here, basically the die makes it so this is just a bramble space. It's no longer a split space. So if I place this one here, it would actually cause a mouse to come out. So I would gain a yellow mouse in that space. So you definitely don't want to do that too often. You're going to lose too many points. Also, one thing to keep in mind is that at the end of the game, any dice that are on a split space lose 1 point. So you have to really be careful how many of those come out. There's a couple other rules you need to know. If you need to place a card and for whatever reason you don't have enough dice to put on here, that's okay. You don't have to put a dice out. However, if you place a card and you don't have enough dice and it requires a mouse to come out, then you cannot place a card. Now, if you are out of dice and a mouse needs to come out, but the Edwood mouse is not out yet, then you can place the Edwood mouse in its stead. And so that's the vast majority of the rules here. We'll go ahead and get this cleaned up, and then we'll start the game. And so we're ready to go here. We draw the first card to the field here, and now we're ready to draw our 2 cards. And let's see how we can work this. Now this one's actually a really good one right off the bat. You can see these match up here, so I will gain 2 chestnut dice. And this one matches up here, which is good because it says I want to gather a blackberry on my first turn for this card here. And since this has a blackberry on top and I'm placing it on a bramble, that's okay. I will gain a dice on all 3 of these. So that really worked out. That was a good play. We still have this card, but we're adding 1 more card to it for the next turn. Wow, not too bad. I mean, I could place this one right here, but maybe I should look at another option. I could place this one over here. I won't get a mushroom die. I do kind of want to increase these if I can, but maybe this is the best option here. So if I place this one here, I will get 3 more dice out. You can see the chestnut, the falling leaves matching up here, the 2 mushrooms on soil matching up here. So I will get a lot more dice out. That's really nice. It's a pretty good start to the game, but we want to start increasing those dice if we can. So we draw another card here. And so these are going to be a little more difficult to work with. Actually not too bad, because if I place this one here, let's see how everything lines up. So the chestnut lines up here, blackberry here, mushroom here, chestnut here. This bramble lines up here. I won't get a die for it, but this mushroom lines up here and I will get a die for that one. So that's really good. So all 4 of these dice here are going to increase in value since I already had a dice placed before. So that was really nice. Pretty good play for that one. So these all go up and then I'll get the 1 mushroom here. So that was really good. Let's go ahead and draw our next card here and let's see. Now for this one that I just drew, maybe I should place it like this. See, I will match up the mushroom there, a chestnut here, and then mushroom here. This fallen leaves here will match up with this background, but this die won't increase in value. But these 2 will, and I'll add another chestnut die. So that's probably a good shot. Oops, that one doesn't increase. But this one does, so that's up to a 6 now. And this one's up to a 3. That's really nice. And let's see, 1 chestnut die here. So we're doing pretty good. Not too bad. Got our next card. And what if I take this card here and turn it right here like this? And so the chestnut matches here. We'll increase that one. The blackberry will increase that one. We'll add a new mushroom die. And this bramble here matches up here. So that's no problem. So we are avoiding the mice for now. That's really nice, because I have a tendency to bring out too many mice. I'm not very good at this game, so I'm actually looking pretty good for this time around. All right, so we have these 2 cards now. I wonder if I'm really crazy to think about this, but what if I place this right here? All right, so the chestnut matches here. The blackberry doesn't match here, so I will place a mouse there, and that's going to cost me some points. But this will increase to a 3. This one will increase to a 10. This one will stay as it is, and I will gain a blackberry there. Ooh, I don't know if that's a good choice, but you know what? I'm a risk taker, so we're going to take it. So this one moves here. This one's a 10. This one is a 3. This one is now a 3, and we lose that one. We're going to have to gain a green mice to that spot because it did not match up with the backgrounds. So that's how that works. Place the new one here. So I think I got a lot more points than I lost there. I lost 5 points, but I gained a bunch. So we'll see if that was a good play. We have our next card here. And so we only have 2 cards left to play. Oh man, I'm so tempted on this one. Because if I play it like this, right? The two mushrooms are matching up and the chestnut there. This one matches up. So remember, you can't move a mouse unless you place the same kind of background, which this is a bramble here. And so if I remove that mouse, I would have to place the Edwood mouse in its place. It'll cost me 3 more points, but I'm gonna gain 5 here, another 3 here, and another 3 there. So I think that's worth it. I gain 8 points total. So I'm gonna play it risky here. So we lose this one. And then this is going to become a basket. This is actually the first basket I made. I guess that's kind of why I wanted to do it. So that was just my own little personal goal. I wanted to make a basket during the playthrough, but it does cost me 5 points with this mouse here. And so we have this one final card to play. And so I can't help but think maybe I should just play it right here. I think that's what I'm going to do. We'll play it right here. This will increase to a 10 now. This one will increase to a 3. Because those match up, and I will get one more green die out there. So this one gets added right there. I think that was worth it. All right, so we're ready for final scoring. Now, we do have these bonuses that I have in play. I'm gonna double my lowest scoring food, which it looks like it's green, because I have a total of 10 there, whereas I have a lot more. I have 24 or 29 in the mushrooms, and then 13 in the chestnuts. So yeah, I will be doubling the green one. I'm going to be losing 5 points from this mouse. Now, what this says here on the lowest scoring food, after subtracting any mice and before any bonuses, so that any mice that it's talking about is any mice of that color. So if I had the 10 here and I had a -2 mouse out here, that would bring my total to 8 of that particular kind. And then I would double that amount. So I'd get 16. But in this case here, I have 20. And then I have a bonus one here because I gathered a blackberry on the first turn. All right, so we have 20 plus 13 here. So that's 33. We have this one here, 34, plus the 29 here. So that's gonna make it to 63. And then we subtract the mouse here. And then we subtract 1 point here because it's on a split tile. And so that brings me to a grand score of 57. All right, that was my best score ever. And so there you have it. That was the tutorial solo playthrough of Forage by Mark Tuck. Definitely stay tuned to the campaign that's coming up next month. Again, I'll have a link as soon as it becomes available. And then also consider that there's a lot of replayability here. These different recipe cards here provide you with different scoring opportunities, and they these get mixed and matched and all sorts of things. So you can have this scenario here where you have chestnut soup, where you have to gather a chestnut in the first turn, gaining 1 point. And this one's extra special. At least 3 dice of the same food are on adjacent areas, so bonus 3 points. And then the goal here is 38 as a total. And so there are a lot of opportunities there, a lot of variability. But definitely ask me any questions in the comments, point out any rules errors I may have made, or maybe I could have done better than that. Let me know where I should have played a different card. Please also like and subscribe to this channel if you like the content you see here, and if you'd like to support me on Patreon, I have a link in the description, and I thank everyone who has supported me thus far. And I thank you very much for joining me on Tabletop for One. Have a great night.